A very good morning to all my dear children. Welcome again to our lesson The Lost Child by Mulk Raj Anand. Okay, in the last class we have seen that this is a story of a child and family who visits a fair. And we have seen that they were much excited to reach to the fair. Before that they have crossed many places in which the child is attracted to various stalls on the way, and the parents were guiding this child not to get attracted, as well as he was dissuaded from getting these things. And the mother, who felt so sympathetic to the child, she was trying to catch the attention of the child by showing some other things, especially the bliss of nature, isn't it? Like mustard field. Then you have seen that this child was going after the butterflies, dragonflies, and he was much instigated to sit and watch how the insects come out of the mud, isn't it? Likewise. And in between we can see that the parents were calling this child to follow them, isn't it? And as they were about to reach the fair, they comes to a huge grove where the child is very much happy enough to see the cooing of the birds, and he was just running around the banyan tree, and he finds himself the most excited manner in between the trees, isn't it? And also we see that the parents, along with other people, after this winter season, they were just moving around towards this fair to enjoy their life, isn't it? So now we see that the child was carried over by the parents through the mustard field, and they have entered or reached the fair. So we can this is what we have seen in the last classes, isn't it? Now we can continue the next portion. So you may take your textbook and go through your text as I say, and I give you explanation. Okay? So now, continuing with the next paragraph. As they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the whirlpool of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. Okay? So in this paragraph we see that once they reached the fair, the child says that as they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the whirlpool of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. So what is that? That says that the child, when he entered into the fair, he saw huge crowd of people walking from all direction to the fair. That's why it says that he could see other footpaths. Other footpaths here means what? Other people full of throngs. Full of throngs means huge crowd. Okay? He could see huge crowd of people walking towards this fair. And seems to be like they are converging to the whirlpool of the fair. Converging means what? They have gathered all over the place, and this sight of huge people at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. That means this may be the first time the child was seeing such a huge crowd of humanity or huge crowd of people. And at the very instant he was confused, he was scared, as well as he was fascinated also for seeing this one. Maybe this is the first time, isn't it? So actually, when he saw huge crowd of people in this fair, he thought of taking a step backward, because maybe this is the first time. So what we see here is, once they entered into the fair, this boy or this child could say that the entire place was crowded with a lot of people coming from different directions, isn't it? And not only that, this sight just really fascinated the boy, because maybe this is the first time he was witnessing such a huge crowd of people. So what are the meaning here? Throngs means huge crowds, and converging means gathering. Okay, you have to write this meaning in your textbook itself. Just note these words and write it the meaning over in your textbook. Then coming to the next paragraph. A sweetmeat seller hawked Gulab-jamun, rasagulla, burfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets decorated with the leaves of silver and gold. The child stared open-eyed, and his mouth watered for the burfi that was his favorite sweet. I want that burfi, he slowly murmured, but he half knew as he begged that his plea would not be heeded because his parents would say he was greedy. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So what happened? So this is the first thing that the child sees in the, what is that, in the fair. What is that? Here, once he entered the stall, he could see that the attractions of the fair or the things that attracted the child is, here it says that a sweet meat seller hawked Gulab-jamun, rasagulla, then burfi, jalebi. A person from a sweet seller started shouting and started asking for the children to buy these things. Which are the sweet things you can see there? Gulab-jamun, that is also very sweet. Rasagulla, then burfi, jalebi, all sweet items, attractive colors sitting at the corner of the entrance, and the people, isn't it? And people who comes there just buys this, isn't it? So this boy, as he just moved through this way, he was also attracted by what? Jalebi, then burfi, and all these things. And he was also looking at this, he started, what is that? Swallowing water, isn't it? His mouth filled with water, isn't it? Because he was so attracted towards this favorite sweets. He now very slowly he was telling that I want that burfi. Actually, he doesn't want to say this to his parents, but for his satisfaction, or he was just telling, what is that? Because of the love that he has got for this burfi, how much he wished for that burfi, because this is considered to be his favorite sweet. So he says that I want that burfi. He slowly murmured. He doesn't wanted his parents to get irritated by telling this. So for his mind's pleasure, he slowly said, I want that burfi. And one more thing he knew, what is that? But he knew half as he begged that his plea would not be heeded. Heeded means what? My parents will not take any attention if I say that I wanted burfi. They will only say that I am greedy, or I am so, what is that? I wanted this burfi. So he says that actually my parents will not agree with me. Okay. So he didn't wait for an answer. Just he said, I want that burfi, and he moved on. Without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So the first thing that attracted from the fair is the sweet seller selling Gulab-jamun, rasagulla, burfi and jalebi. The only thing that he wanted here is burfi, because burfi was his favorite sweet. Okay. Then he never expected an answer from his parents, because he was made very sure that if he says also, his parents will not buy this burfi for him. Then the next thing that he sees there is a flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped and half murmured, I want that garland. But he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers, because they would say that they were cheap. So without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So what happened? The next thing that he sees there is what? Garland of gulmohar with orange, red color flowers. And we see that there is huge basket of flowers just, what is that? There, and along with that, a flower seller hawked. He was also telling a garland. Garland means what? What is that? Garland is just like which is used for in a, what is that? Just appreciating a person, or just to put on the neck, isn't it? And just likewise, he was also telling that I also wanted that, but who doesn't care, isn't it? here parents are not giving any heed to this also. And he was sure that if I just demand this to my parents, they will say that the flowers are cheap. So, without waiting for an answer, he just moved onward. What we see here is whatever he demanded. At first, we see that on the way to the fair, he demanded for toy. There also the father was standing there like a ruler, oppressor who is trying to oppress the emotion of this child, desire of this child for wanting a toy. Then he wished for what? Burfi. That was also not considered. Then he honestly from his mind he says that I wanted garland. Here also the child knows that my father will not let me have this. So no, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. Okay. So anyhow, the expecting answer from his parents will not satisfy him. So he didn't say anything. He just moved on. Then another thing that just attracted the child is the next paragraph. It says that a man stood holding a ball with yellow, red, green and purple balloons flying from it. The child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. But he well knew his parents would never buy him these balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. So he walked on further. See, what we see here is this child is so understanding. He knows very well what his parents will say if we just demand for this balloons, isn't it? Balloons are one of the favorite thing that all children, irrespective of age, isn't it? Even the elder people also like what? Balloons, isn't it? So here, this child, the next thing that he sees in the fair is a man holding a ball having what? Different colors of balloons tied on it, isn't it? And he was just maybe trying to attract the children for buying this balloons. And especially in all the fairs, when you go, you can see the children comes out from the fair with handful of balloons, isn't it? Festivals and all. So this child also wanted this one. He wanted this also, but he was sure that if he asked his parents to buy at least these balloons, parents would say that, oh, you are not a small boy now, isn't it? And he was sure that the parents would say that you are you are not too young to play with such toys. So he just walked further, isn't it? And his overwhelming desire to possess them just ignored. What is the meaning of overwhelming? Overwhelming means a very strong emotion. Okay, a very strong emotion he suppressed. So we see that he suppressed the desire for wanting a toy. Then he suppressed the desire for wanting burfi. Then garland of gulmohar. Then finally here comes the colorful balloons. He wanted all these things. Now you can imagine this child was just, lagging behind to see and enjoy all these things. The parents just taking this child to have a view of all these things. Okay, then another thing that he sees there, or another thing that attracted the child in the fair was, what is that? Next paragraph. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like a neck of a swan, while the music stole to the invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. The child ran towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such coarse music as the snake charmers played, he proceeded further. The next thing that he sees here is a person who, playing, or a person who is just playing music, and he was called as what? The snake charmer. So, as the man was playing a flute to the snake, which coil means which was put around in a basket. You know that how the snakes are inside a basket like a coil, and the head seems to be like that of a swan. You might have seen swan, isn't it? It's a duck-like bird, isn't it? And likewise, the snake was just putting his head out of the basket and listening and playing in accordance to the music of the snake charmer. And the boy who came in front of this, he was attracted to the music and he was just standing there to listen to the music. But he couldn't wait there for longer because the parents were not will not approve him, and he was forbidden. Forbidden means what? He was not allowed to stand there, telling that that's a coarse music. Coarse music means what? Unpleasant music. What is the meaning of coarse? Coarse is unpleasant. Okay, unpleasant music. So there also he didn't wait much, and he was just moving forward. Then we see that what is another thing that attracted the boy. Okay, next paragraph says that there was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women, and children carried away in a whirling motion shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout, please, father, mother. Now finally, what we see here is he made a request. So far, he was just murmuring that I want a burfi, I want a garland, I want to listen to the music. But here, he goes so confident enough to say to his parents, and he made a request. Because what is here? Finally, he comes across a roundabout in full swing. What is that? That the main attraction of any festival or fair is this roundabout swing. Okay, merry-go-round, in other words, you know that for small children, it goes in another style. We say merry-go-round. Here, it is roundabout and in full swing. You know that men, women, children, all are just getting onto this and they're just enjoying the ride. So he also can't suppress this desire. So finally he thought of telling this to his parents, telling that men and women, children carried away in a whirling motion. You know that in a round way. They are just taking their ride in this roundabout, and he also wanted this. And they also, what is that? Making shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. Once they reach the top of this roundabout, definitely you feel like, oh, how it feels. You will be afraid, isn't it, to see what is a large area of place over there, and also you feel like you're about to fall. Definitely, you will also feel like a pain or ache or something like that in your stomach when you just make a swing also. So definitely here people used to cry and laugh when they come to the top of the roundabout. So this attracted the boy very much, and he wanted to have a ride. So finally he made a bold request. With much courage, he thought of just telling this to his parents. What is that? I want to go on the roundabout, please, father, mother. This is a request made by the child. Okay, so I think you understood today's portion. What we have seen today is, once they reached the fair, the child reached to its child's joy reached to its climax, because you know that his eyes got attracted to everything that he sees here, especially the toys and the sweets fascinated him very much. But we know that he doesn't ask for anything, because he knows that his parents would discourage him, isn't it? And he moved along with them, because this was his previous experience on the way to the fair. Then what are the main attractions? Altogether, this is what we have learned in this class, in this today's portion. But what are the main attractions that he had from the fair is, the sweet seller, Gulab-jamun, rasagulla, burfi, jalebi, everything attracted him, and his mouth was filled with water looking at this gorgeous and sweets, isn't it? But he honestly wished for what? Burfi. This is burfi, okay? And he said, I want this burfi. No way. No one heeded. Then he wanted what? Garlands of gulmohar. There also, no way of getting. Then he was attracted to colorful balloons. And finally, you see that he wanted to listen to the music played by the snake charmer, but his parents will surely say that that is unpleasant music and it's not good, and he need to dissuade from that place. And finally, he made a request that I want to go on the roundabout, because he can't even suppress his desire for having a ride in this roundabout. So he says that, father, mother, please, I want to go on the roundabout. Let's see what the parents reply. in the next class. Okay. Have a nice day. God bless you all. Thank you.